Hey, it's Nick and Brian from London Real. We're at Floatworks here on London Bridge, and we're about to go into an isolation chamber.
I'm so looking forward to this, Brian. I really need it. It's been a long week.
I could use a good float. We're going to get naked. It's going to be dark. There'll be no sounds.
It sounds like a usual night at your house, right?
Come on, let's go check it out.
Floating in today. So you need to have a quick shower before and after the session. Before you hop into the tank, you've got some earplugs here to put into your ears, and they protect your ears from the salt. And if you happen to have any little nicks or cuts anywhere, put a little bit of Vaseline on as well, because then it won't sting when you hop into the tank. Now when you hop in, it's really easy to use. Your head goes down this end and your feet go down the other end, and you'll float on the surface of the water without having to try and float. You've got a couple of buttons in here that you also control while you're in the tank. This one here will switch the light off on the inside, so you'll be in the darkness. And the other one on your right is the call button for reception. If you want to ask us any questions throughout the session, you can press that and it'll just let us know. We'll come by and knock on the door. There's also a neck cushion hanging on this side. You might like to use that behind your head if you feel a little bit more comfortable. And if you happen to get any salt in your eyes, we've got a bottle of fresh water there and you can spray it out with that, but try not to touch your face. So the way it works is we'll turn the lights out completely in the room and we'll turn some music on for you in the tank. You'll listen to 10 minutes of music. You'll be floating for 45 minutes of silence and in the dark. And then at the end, to indicate the time's over, we'll turn the music and we'll turn the lights back on in the room, and then you know it's time to hop out. Afterwards, have a quick shower. You've got shampoo, conditioner, shower gels in there. So that's everything. Any questions?
We're here at Floatworks by London Bridge with Matt Strudwick, and we're about to go into an isolation chamber. Matt, what's the biggest hesitation people have when they usually go floating?
Some people are a little bit concerned about being sort of enclosed in the tank itself. But mostly when we show them the tank and show them how it works and that they're in complete control, they're usually okay. And certainly afterwards, people are like, wow, that's great. When you float, you've got like sort of 10 inches of water with half a ton of Epsom salt in there, which creates a super buoyant environment, a bit like the Dead Sea, but even more buoyant. So you couldn't sink even if you tried. So you just float. So firstly, physically, gravity's taken out of the equation. You're just floating there, no effort involved. Really good for your muscles, any kind of pain, and just physically allowing things to stress to go physically. And then the lack of any stimulation, the lack of sound, the lack of light eventually forces your brain to go into these very slow, deep states. You go through a deep alpha into a theta state, and that's where really kind of deep mental relaxation occurs, creativity, releasing kind of tension, thoughts, stuff like that. So the combination of the physical relaxation with this mental kind of switch off, you get this kind of double whammy effect, and that's why people enjoy floating and keep coming back and doing it for years and years.
Your brain is resonating at different frequencies with different states of consciousness. So, for example, we're probably in a beta brainwave state now, which is an alert, active kind of state, and alpha is more relaxed. Apparently, children are in alpha a lot more of the time, which means that they absorb and process information a lot more quickly. If I'm not mistaken, Matt referred to theta brainwave states, which are apparently where religious and mystical experiences take place. And that's what I wanted to ask you about. Have you ever had someone come out of a float and say, that completely changed my life, or I met my dead grandfather? Or
Yes, I mean, some people occasionally say that they have out-of-body experiences where they kind of, it's as if they're on the ceiling looking down on themselves in the tank. I mean, that's pretty rare, but yeah, some people, they come out and say, I've just decided I hate my job, or my relationship's not working, things like this. And certainly some people, I was speaking to a guy in Japan this week who told me that he used to be involved in a criminal gang making lots of illicit money, and about 10 years ago he had a float, and he said it was almost like some other kind of spirit or something told him, this is wrong, and he just changed his whole life and realised what he was doing. And he went off and just lived on his own, and said that he enjoys nature and animals and just the peace of being alive now. So, wow.
What do you say to the person that works in London and they don't like meditating, and they're like, what am I going to do if I get into the darkness for an hour?
In some ways, using a flotation tank, it's almost meditation for lazy people. You get the same results without having to put in the practice, or similar results. You can just go in there. It's pretty passive. You lie there, and the whole point is you do nothing. And it takes some people longer to enter these deeply relaxed states than others. But if people stick with it, usually at some point in the first session you will get into those states. But sometimes it takes 2 or 3 sessions in a reasonably short period of time to really get the true benefits, and you get a very much a cumulative effect. So the more you do it.
Is this the premier place in London, and how long have you guys been doing this here?
Well, we'd like to think it's the premier place. We've been going since '93, and we're actually the largest flotation centre in the world. So we've got 9 float tanks here, which is more than anyone else. And we make our own tank as well that we sell all over the world.
How much does a tank cost?
One of our tanks is £18,600.
I'll take 2.
I had my first float when I was 21, so I'm 40 now. So it's almost half my life. Pretty much once a week.
This is how good you can look at 40 if you float every week.
I don't.
So we're about to go in and float. Any final suggestions or thoughts before we go in?
Well, the main thing is just have no expectations. Just allow it to go where it's going to take you. Don't try and do anything. Don't try and think, I've got this problem or that problem. Just really go in and just clear your mind and just let it take you where it needs to. Because usually the float tank knows what's best for you. That's what we always say.
It's about the journey.
Indeed. So Nick and I just finished 1 hour in the isolation chamber, in complete darkness and in complete quietness. How do you feel?
I feel like a Jedi Knight. Yeah, like the chosen one.
Mine went really fast. The 10 minutes of music came on, and it felt like 10 minutes later it came back. So for me, it went really fast. I think next time I could go for 2 or 3 hours more.
It reminds, I haven't floated for a long time. It reminded me that this is one of the things that sparked my spiritual quest and my wanting to know more. It was back in the day when I used to use the tank, and I was just reminded of that now.
Because you used to go in 5 times a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something that I need to start doing at least once a month, and maybe even once a week. But right now I feel so zoned out. I don't think I could start my day like this, could you?
I definitely couldn't start a fight like this.
So that's it. That's 1 hour in the flotation tank.
We'll have more in studio.
Yeah, we'll be talking about more in studio. We're at Floatworks in London Bridge, and that's us signing out.